Have you ever been on a call and couldn't for the life of you get a word in? It's as if your brain and your mouth got totally disconnected. This is what it's like when you have low thyroid hormones. Low thyroid affects 1 in 5 women and about 1 in 10 men. And this includes those who aren't diagnosed. Low thyroid could cause brain fog, weight gain, fatigue, muscle weakness, hair loss, low libido, cold hands and feet, constipation, and so much more. In fact, I'll link up my thyroid symptom checklist for you below in the description. The thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland at the base of your neck. If everything is working well, you'll feel great. If not, you'll feel pretty poopy. Here's the challenge though. Doctors will usually only test for something called TSH, that's thyroid stimulating hormone. This is short-sighted, and let's take a step back, or in this case, a step up to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is the master regulator and releases something called TRH. This tells the pituitary gland to make TSH. TSH tells your thyroid to produce T4, which is an inactive thyroid hormone. This gets converted into T3, which is the active form of your thyroid hormone. It's what turns up your metabolism. If you have good T3, everything is great. It improves constipation, hair growth, fertility. This conversion happens largely in your liver, about 70%. If T4 doesn't get converted into T3, then you'll feel, as I said, pretty poopy. If you go to your doc and say,
"Hey doc, check my thyroid, would ya?"
they'll check your TSH, and the normal range is usually between 0.5 and 5.0, but ideally you want something more like 1.8 to 3.0. Now, if your TSH is high, the doc will give you something called T4 or Synthroid or generic levothyroxine. But does this really help? You have a bunch of different glands in the body. The adrenals, parathyroid, pituitary, gonads, hypothalamus, all of this impacts or inhibits the thyroid hormone. It's like a web. Well, without the scary spiders traipsing around. So many things can affect the thyroid. It's not just whether your TSH is high or not. So, what are the top things that affect your thyroid hormone levels? Well, let's start with stress. Stress makes the hypothalamus get sleepy. It's less sensitive to signaling from your body. So if your body says,
"Hey, I'm low in T4, give me some,"
it won't send a strong enough signal to the pituitary gland to make more TSH. Stress also messes with your liver. Remember, this is where you convert T4 into free T3. Instead of the liver making free T3, stress will tell your liver to make reverse T3, which is totally useless. More stress equals more reverse T3. Environmental toxins and pathogens also mess with your thyroid hormone production and conversion rate. For instance, halogens like fluorine and chlorine and bromine, these will take receptor sites of iodine in your thyroid gland, and then your body will mount an attack. This is measurable with a TPO antibody test. Endocrine disrupting compounds common in canned foods, receipt paper, petrochemicals like rocket fuel, and anything plastic will also disrupt signaling and conversion. Mold toxins can cause TPO antibodies to rise, leading to Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune condition. If you've had mold exposure, be sure to check out my video on toxic mold symptoms and what to do about it. Heavy metals not only displace essential minerals needed by the thyroid to produce T4, some metals like mercury can take the place of iodine in your thyroid. Other metals such as lead and cadmium can also affect thyroid function. Eating gluten, especially wheat, can cause a leaky gut and increase inflammation in the body, which will lead to increased TPO antibodies. Leaky gut and microbiome imbalances are also key. Gut flora makes up about 20 to 25% of how well your thyroid functions. So if you have an overgrowth of candida or pathogenic bacteria, this will affect your thyroid hormones. Low nutrient levels, if you're low in iodine, selenium, zinc, iron, and B vitamins, then your thyroid won't have the essential building blocks it needs to make T4. With regard to iodine, about 70% of your iodine is in your thyroid. If you're enjoying this video, please be sure to click the subscribe button below and hit the little bell. If you have hypothyroid and are given T4 without checking for Hashimoto's, you're missing out. Get your TSH, T4, free T3, TPO antibodies, and if possible, your reverse T3 checked. TPO antibodies help to identify whether or not you have Hashimoto's. You should be at a 0 or close to a 0. And if your level is elevated, say in the teens or in the high end of quote-unquote normal, which is 34, then you have something else to address, an autoimmune thyroid condition. So what about goiters? Goiters are when the thyroid tissue increases in size to accommodate more iodine receptor sites. So in areas where iodine is low, this is more common occurrence. Goitrogens, like cruciferous veggies, don't harm the thyroid tissue, but they will compete for those iodine receptor sites. So if you're low in iodine, eating these foods in large amounts, yep, it can absolutely result in a goiter. What the heck can you do? First step is to reduce carbs. If you're insulin resistant, you'll want to go low carb, higher fats. If you aren't insulin resistant, focus on low to moderate carbs, about 100 grams per day. Reduce toxin exposures. Since I can have multiple videos on this topic alone, for now just go to ewg.org to see how you can start making smarter decisions about your foods, bath and body products, and so much more to reduce everyday exposure. Next up, filter your water. You'll want to remove chlorine and fluoride from drinking water and filter out chlorine for your shower water. I use a Berkey filter to help remove both, or you could use a reverse osmosis filter. For the shower, I use a carbon filter. And next, avoid inflammatory foods, including wheat, gluten, soy, corn, and dairy products. Most clients do just fine with butter and goat cheese. Detoxing what's built up starts with working on your drainage pathways. So consider doing a liver detox. I'm linking my favorite liver detox below by Equalife. Reduce stress. Stress impacts so much more than just thyroid health. Focus on breath work, meditation, mindfulness, and gratitude. Rebalance your gut microbiome. I'll link up my favorite tests to see where your gut is out of balance, and I'll put that in the description below. If you're ready to take the next steps on improving your overall metabolic health, head over to this video right here.